Hey, my magical friends. Welcome to another Witchful Ways podcast episode. I am Annika, offering you the insight, guidance, tools, and an amazing membership to allow you to live a magical life every single day. So today I want to talk about belief systems. And you all know that I don't ever care what your belief system is. And I want to talk about why I don't care what your belief system is. And you've probably, if you've been with me and followed me on my social media and everything and the website for any length of time, you know what my stance is behind this. But I was in a conversation with somebody the other day, and I just kind of wanted to go over it because things morph and things right. The only thing that you can bet on is that shit's going to change at some point or another. So when we talk about belief systems, I keep that completely separate from my witchcraft. A lot of people may be under the assumption that witchcraft is a religion in and of itself. I do not follow that line of thought. Witchcraft and magic, right, can be included and inclusive into any belief system. Even if you are an atheist, right, you can still practice magic. There's still connection. There's still, if you're an atheist, let's say, right, and you don't believe at all in a higher divine source thing, you can still work magic because you understand the physical laws or the universal laws, right? You still live within a construct that allows you to still manipulate energy to make choices now that are going to make differences in your future, right? Because really the only thing we have is today. So when we're looking at belief systems, you can fit witchcraft into anything. And I feel like the majority of quote unquote religions, right? Anything that's a book religion, even there's magic in it. Prayer is magic. All religions have prayer to them. And for a long time, for a very long time, I actually avoided using the words God and prayer because I felt like I was almost cheating, right, on my witchcraft if I chose to use the word God, because people will assimilate that or assume with me using the word God that I believe in one being of divine power that is a creator of all, that, you know, hangs out in a robe in heaven. And that's not my belief system. So that's why a lot of times in my blogs and when I'm talking and in my classes and things like that, you'll hear me say God, one, source, all, or whatever you decide to call it, right? Because it covers everything then. So for the longest time, I didn't use those in my craft. And it's just recently that I went back to using it because you know what? It's only my definition that counts. What I choose the word God to represent is completely and 100% up to me to make that definition. And I feel like it's just a word that people understand. And especially now that the alternative religions, pagan religions, and, you know, non-book religious aspects have become more mainstream, right? When you say God, I think a lot of people automatically think of an Abrahamic book religion God, like I explained before. But I think it's turning a little bit more now where when somebody's talking and they say God, the person that's receiving that word, right? If I'm having a conversation and somebody says God to me, it's my definition of God that comes up in my mind. And I don't have to assimilate it to the belief system that the person that I'm talking with has about the word God, right? To me, God is everywhere. God is the greatest love. God is the center of everything, the Godhead, the center of where everything else stems from. There is a core source. What that core source is, I may not understand it. I may never understand it completely, right? But then we talk about faith. And that's another word that a lot of witches don't like to use, faith. And you have to, what is faith? Faith is only belief in something, and especially belief in your own practices and your own abilities. That's faith. You have to have faith in your intuitive abilities. You have to have the belief in your own knowledge. It's your own understanding. So why would you not use the word faith, right? Prayer, incantations to me, is interchangeable with the word prayer. Wishing is interchangeable with the word prayer. Prayer is simply sending out an intention or a asking. That doesn't make sense, but sending out an intention or asking for something to support you. Right? There are people that, of course, take a penny and make a wish and throw it into, right, a pond, or they wish on their birthday candle and blow it out. And sometimes those are fantastical wishes that we really, when we make them, we know that we're not going to get this. We know that this is a frivolous time to wish. We know that it's not something that we really have the ability to achieve and or receive, right? Like, I may wish to have a zoo in my backyard. That's not going to happen because you can't have zoo animals in a backyard of a city, right? But I can still wish for it. When you make that wish, you send out that prayer, it automatically goes to source. So if I'm stating an incantation during my ritual work, right? Ritual being just a set of actions that are completed to support your intention. That's all ritual is. Your casting of the spell, which is usually an action phrase, a prayer, an incantation, a burning, right? An offering, whatever that is done within your ritual. So ritual and casting, two different things. They can go together or they can be separate, right? You have a self-care ritual. You're probably not doing a whole lot of spell work during that time. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. So it's separate. But when you're doing those rituals and incantations and spell casting, what are you doing? You're sending out an intention to God, one, source, all, whatever it is, right? You're sending it to the core of your belief that there is support and your ability to make changes to allow whatever it is that you're desiring to come into your physical realm, into your world. That's all it is. So that's why I have started using God and prayer and all that stuff again. When people ask me what is, so let's talk then about belief systems. Again, witchcraft being completely separate from your belief system. Whatever your belief system is, you then incorporate your magic into it. Right? If you're Catholic, then you can, or Christian, right? You can be a Christian witch, because a witch by definition is somebody that practices witchcraft. Now, if you're Christian, you may not call yourself a witch. You may not label yourself a witch, and that's completely up to you. But those of us that do label ourselves witches understand that the rituals and the rites and the prayers that you're doing is side to side with the incantations and the rituals that we're doing. It's all the same. It's all going to the same place. It's just, what is your belief system? So witchcraft is completely secular from your belief system. You incorporate it into in whatever manner that is, right? People have asked me, so what is my belief system? Well, being an eclectic witch, right? Like, I tend to take pieces from here and there. I grew up Catholic. I have studied Wicca. I have studied Buddhism. And I feel like that is probably closest in alignment, right? It's a mishmash of all those. Like, I think if you have a belief system, You're not following somebody else's completely. You live and decide how to live by your own experiences and choices. And hopefully in the strive to do better and be better for yourself, for your family, for community, and for society and the world and the universe as a whole, right? Like that's what it's all about. That's what our intentions should be, final destination for. Improve myself or improve other people or improve myself so I can help other people, right? It's not about improve myself for egotistical reasons, even though it can be, right? People do spell work to get their new car and, whatever it may be. And that's perfectly fine. There's nothing to say that you shouldn't have wonderful things. Little off track here. So let's again talk about belief system. Whatever your belief system is formed by your previous experiences, knowledge, and opinions, right? When you have a belief system and it lands in your heart, that is something that is very, very difficult for anyone else to change. And it also means that it's something that you're secure in it. You're not looking to force it on anybody else either. So that's why I always say, you do you, witchy poo. Because whatever your belief system is, even though we may be under the same umbrella of a belief system, right? So even, let's say, two people consider themselves Wiccan witches, they're still both going to have different core beliefs because of their experiences. One may say, a certain type of spell work is okay, and the other one may say absolutely not. So there's so many different nuances about an individual's belief system that there can only be a difference within an umbrella term of a quote unquote religion as well, right? So when you're applying your witchcraft, when you're working your witchcraft, you are using your belief system, but you're tying it into. But you can use witchcraft without a belief system of a higher divine being. Okay. So why are there so many? So this, and kind of a roundabout way, and I'm kind of babbling this week, but this conversation came about when we were talking about how many different religions there are. And there are so many. And the person asked me, well, how can you be sure what you feel your belief system is the right one? And my immediate answer was, there is no right one. Same thing with witchcraft, right? As far as I'm concerned, there is no right way. There's the way that you're called to perform your magic. Because you have different skills, talents, and abilities than I have. So the way that you are performing your magic is going to be different from the way that I perform my magic. But we need all of the belief systems, because when you're working with a belief system or a religion, you connect to it emotionally. That's why I said when it settles in your heart. That's what you know to be true for yourself. And when you find that one that you settle into, you can't be swayed from it because it's truth. And why would you walk away from truth? That doesn't mean that it won't change and morph, right? Or that you may have a specific interest in a certain religion for a period of time. And that's great, because there may be something there that really hones in with you. And you go, yes, this feels like home for now. I have to say that I have held my core beliefs of my belief system since I was about 14 years old. I was reading a book, and in fact, the book I still have and don't tell anybody, but I checked it out from the library when I was 14 years old. I am now 50. When I was 14 years old, and I never returned it to the library. It still has the stamp on the inside. Don't tell anybody. It was called The Wiccan Truths. And I read that book and I said, there are things in here that hit home with me. And combined with the belief system that I was taught growing up, again, which was Roman Catholic, which I still love because it has that ritualistic value to it. I love watching a Roman Catholic Mass. But I melted them together. It all of a sudden all made sense to me. And this was about the same time then that my guardian angel / spirit guide showed up for me. That's when I first got to meet her. When it finally settled into my heart. And I said, this is what I know to be true. This makes absolute sense to me. There's no holes in the story that I have to make things up for. There is the nuances of physical science based kind of stuff in it, right? Physics, quantum physics in it. So am I Wiccan? I am not. Am I Catholic? I am not. I have my own belief system and I don't know what to call it, right? It's your own. But when it settles in, it's there and you can't be swayed from it. Now, again, things will morph and change. Just 2 weeks ago, I was looking again at Buddhist. And I thought, oh, I love so many parts of this. I love so much about this part of it and the meditative part of it and the yoga, right? Like, I love that. Not that that's part that you have to do yoga to be a Buddhist, but I'm just saying, like, it all kind of, I went down a rabbit hole, right? Of looking at information because I'm an information gatherer. And then I applied certain parts of that into my own practice. And even years ago, I will use mala beads or I will use a witch's rosary when I do some of my spell work. Because it makes it easy for me. And I like to work easier and smarter, not harder, right? It lets me keep track of where I'm at. That's specifically what it's used for. So I melded it together. So why do we have all the different belief systems? Because we have to connect emotionally to it. So if you think of, and here we go, here's the final kind of part of it that you guys have probably all heard before, but I'm going to do it one more time. So if you think of your God, one, source, all, universe, whatever it is, as a big diamond, beautiful faceted diamond. And it's got all the facets all over the surface of it, right? Just shining bright. And you have all these different paths that lead up to each one of those facets. And you have people that are walking up those specific paths to those specific facets of the diamond. And they go up to the facet and they look into it, right? Put your hands around your eyes and they're looking into it like looking into a window. All the different facets, all the different people at each of those facets looking into the center of the diamond, which means we're all looking at the same thing. In the end, we're all being drawn into the same thing. We just need all the different paths available. Because there's 7 point something billion people. We can't all agree, that the dress is red and not orange or whatever the hell it was. How are we going to agree on one religion, one way, one belief system that says, this is what I feel is right and truthful for me, and I am going to follow that path to goodness. Whatever that path is, it's going to lead you right up to that diamond to look into your facet, those facets being each belief system and or religion, but we're all looking in and gazing in and oohing and eyeing at the same central point. So that's why we need all of the different paths. So that's why when I'm on my own path and somebody is in front of me, right, I wave, behind me I wave, and I wave to anybody that's on any other path. It's not my place to tell them what their truth is. That's it. Okay. So let me know your thoughts, feelings. If you want to tell me that I'm completely wrong, you can do that too. Feel free to leave comments. Join if you're on Facebook, make sure that you join the Witchful Ways of Mindful Magic Facebook group. And otherwise go to the website, follow me there as well. And let me know what you think. Have a wonderfully magical rest of your day.